This has been a super tough year. From October of 2024 to October now of 2025. I've had 2 miscarriages, but I'm pregnant again now, 20 weeks along, and I just want to share my experience and update you on some of the things that have been going on. I feel like I started this channel wanting to really help other moms. I was excited to expand my family and be having more kids and be able to share that whole process of pregnancy and birth and having a newborn and what that looks like. I have 2 already, a 4.5-year-old boy and a 3.5-year-old girl. They're only 13 months apart. So when I decided that I wanted to have more kids, my husband and I wanted to try for a third. I didn't want there to be too big of an age gap because they're only 13 months apart. So I was thinking 2.5 years-ish. I knew I wanted it to be less than 4 years. But October of 2024, I experienced my first miscarriage. I went through obviously a really hard time of grieving that, but at the same time I had this hope of, okay, well, we had a loss, but we're just going to try again and have more. And then we got pregnant again, and I was hopeful and excited. I didn't have too much anxiety. I really prayed through that with the Lord, and I felt like I could trust that we were gonna have more kids and it was gonna be okay. Then I experienced a loss in that pregnancy as well, and that's when it got way harder for me. I just felt like this hope had been taken away, way more uncertainty of if I could even have more kids, and just all the questions of why is this happening? I had 2 healthy kids. I know miscarriages happen a lot. On this channel, I did do a video about my experience with miscarriage and what I wish people knew about it, because I really didn't know anything about it until someone close to me went through one, and then I experienced my own. And I just think there's not that much information about it. It's a very common thing, but the actual details of it are just so much worse, and it's so much more difficult because it's actually taxing on you physically, emotionally, obviously, like spiritually, all of that. But what really hit me was my second miscarriage. I started bleeding. I obviously knew what was going on because I had just experienced one a few months before, but I went in for an ultrasound. I called my doctor and asked if they could please get me in, and thankfully they did. So I got to see my baby inside of me. I got to have that printed ultrasound picture, which I really wanted and I was grateful for. And then it also ended up being such a good thing that I went in, because it gave me some answers, kind of. The doctor was able to give me a diagnosis. They saw on the ultrasound that something looked a little inflamed and off in my fallopian tubes. So they ordered this test where you have to have dye pushed through a catheter and then an x-ray done at the same time to see how that dye is pushed through your fallopian tubes in your system, and if everything goes through right, or if there's a blockage or whatever. So basically that test confirmed what my doctor suspected, which was that I had an infection called a hydrosalpinx. So I freaked out when I first saw that. I didn't love the way it was handled, because through the medical system that I have and the doctors I use, I was able to see that report before my doctor actually explained what it meant. So then I'm Googling, and it freaked me out. And basically, even seeing my doctor, it was a very doom and gloom diagnosis, because people who have hydrosalpinx are basically given the option of removing everything and doing IVF. That was my option. That's what my doctor said. And I was like, I don't know, if that's definitely not what we're gonna do right now, but I don't know what to think, because a lot of people who have that same diagnosis, this infection that's in the fallopian tubes, have a blockage, which I did as well, but that would typically mean that you're not able to get pregnant easily and you would struggle with infertility, which has never been my problem. Both times I had a miscarriage, I was still able to get pregnant very quickly within, a couple months of trying. Whereas most people with the same diagnosis wouldn't even be able to get pregnant for years of trying. But thank the Lord, I had a friend who's close to me who had the exact same diagnosis, and she actually has gone through IVF but she was able to share with me a like natural regimen that had supplements and using castor oil and things like that to just help get rid of that inflammation. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to try this because I don't like the alternative. So why not try? And we're going to try again. And obviously if we have another miscarriage, that's going to be devastating and so hard, but I'm just going to pray about it. I'm going to jump into this. I'm going to trust God. And that's what we did. I did this natural supplement or natural regimen. Again, it's like supplements and castor oil. If you are experiencing this and you want any links to that, please just let me know in the comments. And I would love to try to help anyone that I can. That's really the point in sharing this story. But I did it for 40 days and then we started trying again, and I got pregnant right away, that first cycle. And now I am 20 weeks pregnant. We just had our anatomy scan. We just found out the gender, and there is this hope and life after loss. And it's such an interesting experience. Obviously, it's been such a hard year, but now that I'm far along in a pregnancy and feeling really great, I don't have the same grief and feelings that I did before. I feel really hopeful. Obviously, I feel like I've made it through that time, and it was a really dark time. It was very difficult to get through that. I think you're going through the emotions and the typical grief you'd have with death and loss. Plus you mix in that it's a miscarriage, so it's a baby you never met and you never will meet, and that's just like carries its own weight and is just different. But then also going through this hormone change, because your whole body, you like get pregnant and then you lose that pregnancy and then get pregnant again and lose that pregnancy. And now I'm pregnant again and I'm going through hormones. And honestly, I've had some like crazy ups and downs in my emotions, even in this pregnancy, not dealing with anxiety of loss, but more just the changes in my body and what that feels like. And I was way more sick this pregnancy than any of the other pregnancies I've experienced. My first two healthy children, my two miscarriages, and this pregnancy. And that's just a crazy thing to say too. I have been pregnant now 5 times, and I view life as from the point of conception. I believe that my 2 miscarriage babies are in heaven waiting for me there, and I will see them again. I will meet them someday. So faith has definitely helped me through my experience. And also I recognize that having 2 healthy children really, really helped me and set me apart in this situation from someone who is trying to conceive their first and going through loss and fertility struggles. I truly can't imagine, even though I've been through my story and what I've been through, I can't imagine going through that without healthy children to get me through. So I really hope that sharing this experience and story can help others. And I really just want to relaunch this channel. I feel like I've been set back and pushed down and lost motivation through everything I've experienced in the last year or 2 since I started this channel. And I really want to just focus on helping moms again. I'm so excited to be going into the end of the year with Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I love to do a lot of Christmas decorating videos. That's part of homemaking for me, and being a stay-at-home mom is just creating the atmosphere in my home of peace and love and everyone feeling comfortable, and Christmas decorations are just so fun. Christmas is the best time of the year in my opinion, so I will be doing a lot of videos for that, but then also sharing a lot of pregnancy stuff. I want to help other moms. That is the true goal for Original Motherhood. The purpose of this channel is to talk about the fact that we are all original in our motherhood. We're all unique and different, but also it helps to have a community of other moms around going through this same season of life. And God designed motherhood. What is the original design for motherhood, and how can we step into that, and how can we really steward our home, our family, our children? And I want to share that with you, my opinions on it. And I'd love for you to subscribe and stick around if that speaks to you at all or resonates with something you're looking for on this little corner of the internet. I really appreciate you listening to my story. Again, if you have any questions, you can put them in the comments and I will do my best to help or answer them. Obviously, I'm not a doctor and I didn't follow my doctor's advice. I'm also planning on I am using a midwife right now. I'm planning on doing a home birth with this baby, so I'll be doing some videos about that and why I'm choosing to do a home birth after having 2 hospital births with my first 2 babies. And I've just changed a lot. God has changed me over the last few years. Some of that has been through hardships and some of that has just been through maturing and learning from him and growing closer to him. And I want to share as much of that as I can. And if you've been through something similar, I hope this reminds you that you are not alone. And even if you've been through something totally different, but a hardship in your life, I hope you don't feel alone as well. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video, which is gonna be probably totally different from this video because we are gonna be going into Christmas decorating and all of that.